Hello everyone. Today we're going to repair this Yakima Carbonite 16, but that also relates to any of the other size in the Carbonite series. And also note that any kind of repair we do on a Yakima, same as a Thule, Eno, they're all the same type of plastic. So our repair kits are going to work on any of them. This one is a 16, but like I said, this would work on the 12, 16, 18, 21, Carbonite, all the other ones, the Thule Force, Motion, Pulse, and any of the old ones also, Atlantis. So, in this repair, what we're going to do is repair this breakout here, this triangular breakout from the hinge. This is a rather common occurrence with these boxes. So what we want to do is, this is a pressure point, meaning that this center hinge connects at this point with these three rivets, and it takes a lot of stress. So we're going to do the repair both on the inside and the outside. We're going to take the lid off, flip it upside down, drill out the rivets, take this badging off also, and then repair inside and out. We're going to put fabric on both sides. Our idea on when do you do two sides or even two layers of fabric is if it's in a high stress point. So on this box, if I was to, or any box for that matter, the high stress points are going to be the rear hinge, front hinge, basically anywhere where the box is riveted to parts. Any of these points, all these 3 points here, that's definitely something that we would either put a double layer on, and sometimes it can be on the same side. A lot of times it's on just the inside on both of them. And also what we try to do is we typically try to put all the repairs on the inside because we don't need to see the repair on the outside. So we're going to get started on this one, but first we're going to unscrew both of the hinges. These are just, for these boxes, it's just a Phillips, like a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. That's all we need to be able to take those off. Now we also do the Thule boxes also, and if you watch some of our other videos out there on repairs, you'll see how to take the lids off also. It works best in this box if we have 2 keys. You can put 1 key in, open it up, disconnect the hinges, and then put the other key in the other side, and the box will literally flip over. But there is a way of doing it where you put the key in, disconnect the hinges, and then activate each of the points where these rivets are, connection points, and then you can take the key out and bring it to the other side. That's what you would do if you have just 1 key. So let's get started on removing this lid. First of all, I'm just going to obviously open one side. And then I'm going to put a prop stick in there. You can use anything you like, but this one's about 27 inches long. The next thing I'm going to do is remove the screw both hinges on both sides, there and there. And I'm using a number 2 screwdriver, which basically means that it's not a sharp point. It's the next size down as far as that goes. Alrighty. And what I like to do so that I don't lose the screw, I know I'm kind of in view, what I do like to do is put the screw back in where it came from so that we're not searching for that later. Just going to put it in a couple turns. Then we're going to do the same on the other side, and this is why we have the prop-up stick. This one, actually, you saw that one, I got it from the screwdriver going that direction. Now this one comes from the outside going in. There's a hole here in the end of this hinge, and I like to use release the bottom ones. The top ones always seem to be a little tougher to work with. But, and plus on the back, we're going to be drilling that one off anyways, so. Keep it going. Now, step after this is we're going to make the assumption that I only have one key. So what I want to do is there's little tongues here that I'm just depressing. I have to probably go down and go back to get it to initiate. Basically, we're initiating. There's a tongue. I'll show you some pictures of it. Basically, just pushing that down, going one end to the other. And they seem like you're not getting anywhere, but they will initiate. What we're doing is we're acting like the lid of the box is coming down. So we're just going back and forth. And you'll hear a rather flip. Yeah, I can see where this popped up right there. This allows me to take the key out. Now I'm just going to take my stick out of this one, go to the other side, put the key in, and then open it up from this side. Put my hand in the center, and then basically, with a loud crash, flip it over. Now we can start working on the rear hinge. We're going to drill these out, pop off the little plastic pieces, drill these out, do the repair on both sides. Let's go. Here we are on the inside of the cargo box. You can see where two of the three hinges or their rivets had failed, and actually has deformed the plastic. So what I'm actually going to do is heat it up with a heat gun and then clamp it from both sides to make it, to reshape it. So I'm just basically going to heat a little on the outside, then the inside, kind of go back and forth, and then just use some form of clamp. Probably do one, or I'm not sure if I'm going to do both at the same time, but either way. And then we're going to also drill out this bottom rivet, and then once we get this piece removed, we're going to end up drilling out all three rivets on this base piece, so it's clean and ready to be installed once we're ready. This is the back of the cargo box. You can see the other two of these caps have popped off already. So if these have ripped out, we know that this one's pretty stressed out, and we want to do an area, roughly triangle, about 1.5 inches more than the area that we're repairing. So in saying that, I'm going to do it both on the inside and the outside. So I'm going to remove this sticker, which we can put back on later. Just peels off. If you have problems peeling it off, you can also take a heat gun to it, and it'll help. And now I'm going to drill this out. See how good I am in left-handed drilling here. So a note about drilling these out is you don't want to let that head spin very much, because what happens is this aluminum rivet gets really hot, and so then it'll push the whole head straight through and make your hole even bigger, which we don't want to do as far as that goes. So the head's been pulled off, so now I can just pull this off here, and I'm going to take this to the bench and drill these three out, and then we're pretty much cleaned up here. But like I said, these are deformed, pushed in pretty hard, so I'm going to heat these up and get them back to where they're supposed to be. Here we can see, this is the inside of the cargo box, how deformed they are. If I look right down the line, see how they're dimpling out both here and here. Let's straighten those out. So I found two pieces of plywood that I'm going to end up sandwiching over this once after I'm done heating it up, and use the clamp. So let's get started heating it up. We just want to start slowly. We don't want to distort it or make it drip or anything like that. We just want it malleable. Okay, I can actually see it starting to pucker back because it's getting warm, and it actually starts to off-gas, and I can smell it a little bit. So what I'm going to have, put these on here, and then I'm going to have the assistants here, and we're going to tighten these up, and just tighten them up just enough for that, get them nice and snug. We want to compress that plastic back into shape, and it won't take long to form and to cool. And once we're done with this, we're just gonna take some Windex and clean up the whole area around here. As you can see, it's pretty dusty. We want to be able to clean both sides. We're just using Windex and a rag, and that's about it, truthfully. I think that's enough time. As you may have saw that there, that's a lot better than it was. It's not perfect. Also, because it's not going to be perfect, because when it tore out, it stretched it like a taffy, so that when we try to put it back, you're not going to literally, it's like trying to make taffy back to the shape it was. That's just not going to happen. So it is stretched and elongated, and the physical aspect of it is it can't get back all the way, but we got it close. We got it a lot closer than it was before. Let me just give you a side angle to be able to see down the profile of that. Yeah, looks a lot better. For this repair, we're going to use the Mammoth Men Small Repair Kit, which consists of a 12 by 12 fabric, an 8-ounce solvent cement, and also 2 pairs of protective gloves. We highly recommend that you use a respirator while doing this procedure. It is recommended to do the repair in a well-ventilated area, such as a garage, barn, or outbuilding. And it is also recommended not to do it underneath a shade tree or a pop-up tent, since both of these allow UV rays to transmit through the canopy of the leaves or through the fabric. Now we're going to put some duct tape pieces over the rivet holes on the inside. This stops any oozing of the solvent cement through to the inside, and it also, when we remove the duct tape, it will show us where to drill our holes out. Now I'm going to size up the fabric so I know where to apply the solvent cement before I put the fabric down. What I'm doing here is we're going to put one piece a little higher and then another one right below it, and have them overlapping by about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. So here I'm just doing an outline to make it easier to represent it in this video. And then you can see where that's the first strip, and then we're going to apply the second one. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that we do double repairs in areas that experience a lot of stress. This is one of those areas where the strut mounts to the top of the cargo box. The other areas are also where the side hinges attach, or if there is a crack that goes all the way to the edge. The repair process that I'm showing here can be applied to anywhere on the cargo box, including the base. If you have experienced any broken pieces, you can also find most of those on our website. If not, you can always email or text us, and we'll be happy to let you know the availability of any parts that we may have. Now we're ready to apply the solvent cement. We're just going to apply it to the first area that we marked out. We're going to start at the top. Since it does have a tendency to drip, it's a little easier to manage starting from the top and working your way down. Now with the solvent cement, I'm going to go a little farther outside of the lines so that I make sure that it has coverage. Now we're going to do this twice, once to on our first day, we're putting the solvent cement down, fabric, and then solvent cement. And then the next day, tomorrow, we'll come back, clean it up, and sharpen up the edges. So I'm establishing the top, and here I'm using a paddle. The top one is to cleat it down so that when I push it up into the corner, it doesn't pull it down. I'm using the soft radius edges. Once the fabric is tucked up against the plastic, we're going to apply the coat of solvent cement on top of that. Now we're not trying to put a lot on here. When we're done, we want to see actually some of the fabric showing through. We want to do thin layers where it can off-gas and harden. The wrong perception is to put a lot on there thinking it's making it stronger. We want to do thinner coats and more of them. So I've covered the first piece, and now I'm putting down the base layer for the second piece. Note that I'm going slightly outside the gray Sharpie lines to give me a little room to work with when putting the fabric down. Here we are the next day. We're going to take this flex knife and shave down any burrs that we may have. Now we're just going to apply our final coat on the outside, and we're going to square off the edges, make it look nice and clean. You can put down as many layers of the solvent cement as you like on top of the fabric. The more you put down, the smoother it's going to look, and the less chance you'll see any fabric underneath. And you have to also remember that the solvent cement in this can is only going to last about 6 months before it'll slowly leak out, and due to the high volatility of the solvents in it. Remove this from the inside so that we can locate our holes. Drill them out. It can be a little bit of a challenge, but I can see one of them was broken off, so I know it's in here and in here, but the best one I've got is right here. What I'm going to do is take this off the hinge. Once again, I'm going to put that on there so I don't lose it. But since I found the one spot, I know that I can do this, put a rivet in it to hold it, pin it into position. And I can also see that this is level with this line, and then I can shoot this line. And then if I like to hold that position, just hold that there. And then we can go like this. Great. Now what we can do is see that when we come around here, we have our new hole positions. Here, here, and here. Now that we have the outside complete, we're going to put duct tape over the holes and start working on the inside. As you can see, it kind of tapers actually underneath. It tapers back, and it makes it kind of hard to repair it in that fashion. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand it up on end, kind of like how we have this cargo box here. And that way we can work on it in that kind of sort of fashion. Here we have the box standing on edge. Here's the two top holes and the other hole. Now it's going to make it a lot easier for me to do this repair. I'm not going to draw the lines, but it's going to be the same idea. One here, and then this one overlapping a little bit on that end. Now you may have noticed how I did the repair on the outside first, and that's what we want. The reason being is we want to be able to let the outside cure long enough before we expose it to UV sun. Once this is cured, everything's great. It has no problem with UV, but up until that point, until the gases have off-gassed, what happens is it accelerates it, and what it does is creates a skin, and then that skin stops this cement from off-gassing, and it creates blisters. So we're not after blisters is not what we want. And also in saying that any of this procedure, we do not want to add heat or sun, a fan, heat gun, none of that, because all that's doing is the same thing as what the sun is doing with the UV. It's creating a skin on it, and the solvents in this cannot escape, creating a blister. So what it'll start to do is, as the sun or anything hot underneath there will excite the molecules in there, and then they'll pool up into a certain area, probably a high point, and then eventually pull up and want to get out, keep on pushing and pushing and pushing to get out, that it'll create a blister. And that is not a desirable effect for what we're going for here. We want nice, smooth repairs. Any repairs you do on the outside shouldn't go in the sun for, I would say, 2 to maybe 3 days, just to let it off gas naturally. I can't stress that enough that we don't want to expose this to the sun right away. It needs a little bit of time to cure. So we're getting towards the end on this repair. So tomorrow we're going to come in, put another coat on. About 8 hours after that, we can drill the holes back through, and we can rivet the piece back on and reassemble the box. Alright, here we are back at the inside of the cargo box. We did one layer. Now I'm just going to shave it down. Like I said, I like these flex knives so I can make them bend to wherever the cargo box, the shape of the cargo box. Take off any burrs. And then what we're going to do is put down another coat. And yeah. Once again, starting up high, and then if I have to deal with any drips, it just basically rolls downhill. And you can put as many coats on as you want. You just have to make sure that it dries in between each coat. Now that we have the repair completed, this is the rear of the box. We can just pull the tape off. And then we can see where the holes are. If they didn't show up, we could also use this as a template on either side, but we can easily see that. Now if we didn't put the tape there, it would be harder to see. Alright. I'm just going to take a flex knife, clean it up. I'm going to do that on both sides, inside and out. And now I'm going to rivet this piece back on. I can see the configuration, how it's going to go. So I'm just going to, we're aiming for this hole on this. Lining up the other holes. As I'm doing this, I'm also pushing on the plastic piece in the back, pushing that in with the rivet gun so it takes up any gaps. We don't want to initiate the rivet unless all the gap has been taken up. There we go. And pretty much that's the outside done. Now we can just put our sticker back on. You can kind of see its outline here. Something like that. Just give it some pressure. If it doesn't want to stick, you can also heat it up a little, and then it'll help activate the glue. Now, next step is to put the box back together. There you have it, another successful repair. This was a Mammoth Men small repair kit. That's all you needed for this. You might have needed a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, but that's about it. If you need more information, hinges, repaired parts, anything of that nature, visit us at mammothmen.com. Also, like and subscribe. That always helps our channel. Thank you.